The air hung heavy with anticipation. Every breath was measured, every heartbeat echoed in the silence of the night. The soldiers knew that the next few hours could change the course of history. It was May 2nd, 2011, just after midnight in Abbottabad, Pakistan. The city lay in a deep slumber, unaware of the storm that was about to break. A small team of U.S. Navy SEALs prepared for a daring mission. In the dimly lit room, they checked and rechecked their equipment, each movement precise and deliberate. They had trained for this moment for years, and now it was finally here. Their target, Osama Bin Laden, the world's most wanted terrorist. His face was known worldwide, a symbol of terror and fear. Capturing or killing him would be a significant blow to global terrorism. Hidden inside a heavily fortified compound, Bin Laden believed himself untouchable. The compound was a fortress, designed to keep intruders out and secrets in. But tonight, it would be breached. He had no idea what was about to unfold. Inside the compound, life went on as usual, oblivious to the impending raid. The element of surprise was on the SEALs' side. The SEALs, members of the elite Team 6, were the tip of the spear. They moved with the precision of a well-oiled machine, each member knowing their role to perfection. Their training had prepared them for this exact scenario. Years of intelligence gathering had led them to this moment. Analysts had pored over satellite imagery, intercepted communications, and countless pieces of data to pinpoint Bin Laden's location. The operation was the culmination of a decade-long manhunt. Their mission was simple: capture or kill Bin Laden. But simplicity did not mean it was easy. The risks were enormous, and the margin for error was non-existent. Every detail had been meticulously planned, every contingency considered. The stakes could not have been higher. The world was watching, and the pressure was immense. Failure was not an option. The soldiers' faces reflected their determination and resolve. They knew what was at stake, and they were ready to do whatever it took to succeed. Failure was not an option. As the operation unfolded, the SEALs executed their plan with precision and bravery. The mission was a success, and the world would soon learn of the daring raid that brought an end to one of the most notorious terrorists in history. The hunt for Bin Laden had been a long and frustrating one. After the 9/11 attacks, the CIA had made finding him their top priority. Years passed with few leads and many dead ends. The trail seemed to have gone cold. Then, a breakthrough. CIA analysts, painstakingly piecing together fragments of information, noticed a pattern. Couriers linked to Bin Laden kept appearing in the vicinity of a particular compound in Abbottabad. Could this be the break they had been waiting for? The CIA began intense surveillance of the compound. This was no ordinary mission. It was a high-stakes operation that required meticulous planning and execution. The compound, located in a remote area, had piqued the interest of intelligence agencies for months. Its unusual activity and fortified structure raised red flags, prompting the CIA to allocate significant resources to monitor it around the clock. They used drones, satellites, and local informants. The drones provided real-time aerial footage, capturing every movement within the compound. Satellites offered high-resolution images, allowing analysts to study the layout and any changes over time. Local informants, risking their lives, gathered on-the-ground intelligence, providing crucial insights that technology alone couldn't offer. To gather as much information as possible, analysts worked tirelessly, scrutinizing every piece of data. They compared drone footage with satellite images, cross-referencing it with the information provided by informants. Every detail, no matter how small, was examined to build a comprehensive picture of the compound's activities. The more they learned, the more convinced they became. Meetings were held frequently with intelligence officers discussing their findings and updating their assessments. Notes and photos covered the tables, each piece of evidence adding to the growing belief that this was no ordinary compound. The compound's unusual size, its fortified walls, and the secretive behavior of its occupants all pointed to one conclusion. This was a high-value target. The compound was unlike any other in the region. With its high walls and security measures, the people inside moved with a level of caution and secrecy that suggested they were hiding something or someone of great importance. Osama bin Laden was hiding inside. The intelligence pointed to the world's most wanted man. The annotations on the compound's exterior, combined with the behavioral patterns observed, led to a chilling realization. Osama bin Laden, the mastermind behind the 9/11 attacks, was likely within those walls. President Obama was briefed on the intelligence. The president, along with his top advisors, reviewed the evidence. The room was filled with tension as they weighed the risks and rewards of taking action. The intelligence was strong, but the stakes were incredibly high. The evidence was compelling, but not conclusive. Despite the thorough surveillance and detailed reports, there was still an element of uncertainty. The classified documents and intelligence reports painted a convincing picture, but without concrete proof, the decision to act remained fraught with risk. He faced an agonizing decision. Authorize a risky raid on foreign soil. The president had to consider the potential fallout of a failed mission. A raid on foreign soil could lead to international repercussions, and the lives of the soldiers involved would be at great risk. The map of the compound with raid plans highlighted the complexity and danger of the operation, or let a potential opportunity to bring bin Laden to justice slip away. The weight of the decision was immense. Authorizing the raid could finally bring justice for the victims of 9/11s, but the uncertainty of the intelligence made it a gamble. As military helicopters prepared for the mission and soldiers readied themselves, the president knew that the outcome of this decision would have far-reaching consequences. Obama gave the order. The raid was on. Under cover of darkness, 2 Black Hawk helicopters carrying the SEAL team lifted off from a secret base in Afghanistan. They flew low and fast, hugging the terrain to avoid Pakistani radar. The element of surprise was crucial. As the helicopters approached the compound, disaster struck. One of the Black Hawks experienced a catastrophic mechanical failure. It spun out of control, clipping the compound wall before crashing inside. Miraculously, there were no casualties, but the mission was now severely compromised. Section 5. A compound breached. With their cover blown and time running out, the SEALs stormed the compound. They encountered fierce resistance from bin Laden's guards. Gunfire erupted in the night. The SEALs, highly trained and equipped with superior firepower, methodically fought their way through the compound. Inside, the compound was a labyrinth of narrow corridors and hidden rooms. The SEALs moved swiftly and silently, their every move dictated by years of training. They knew that bin Laden could be lurking around any corner, armed and waiting. Section 6. Geronimo, KIA. The SEALs finally reached bin Laden on the top floor of the main building. He was unarmed and offered little resistance. Shots were fired. Bin Laden, the mastermind behind the 9/11 attacks, was dead. The code word Geronimo crackled over the radio. Target eliminated. The mission, though fraught with danger and unexpected challenges, had been a success. Bin Laden was gone. Justice, albeit delayed, had been served. But the raid on Abbottabad was just the beginning. It would soon raise more questions than it answered. Section 7. Shadows over Abbottabad. In the aftermath of the raid, the world celebrated. Bin Laden's reign of terror was over. But as the dust settled, questions lingered. How could bin Laden have been hiding in plain sight, just miles from a Pakistani military academy? Did elements within Pakistan know he was there? Pakistan denied any knowledge of bin Laden's whereabouts, but many remained skeptical. The compound's location, combined with the Pakistani government's history of harboring terrorists, fueled suspicions of a cover-up. The truth, it seemed, remained shrouded in mystery. Section 8. Unanswered questions. The raid on Abbottabad was a watershed moment in the war on terror. It marked the culmination of years of intelligence work, military planning, and international cooperation. The operation was a high-stakes gamble that paid off, but it also left behind a trail of unanswered questions and lingering doubts. But it also exposed the murky world of intelligence gathering and the complex relationship between the US and Pakistan. The two nations, while allies in the fight against terrorism, have often found themselves at odds. The raid brought these tensions to the forefront, raising questions about trust, sovereignty, and the true extent of their cooperation. The full story of what happened that night and the events that led up to it may never be fully known. The operation was shrouded in secrecy, with only a handful of people aware of the details. Even now, years later, much of what transpired remains classified, leaving the public to piece together the narrative from fragments of information. What really happened inside the compound that night? The official account provides a broad outline, but many specifics are still unclear. How did the SEAL team navigate the compound? What resistance did they encounter? And what were the final moments like for the world's most wanted man? Why did the helicopter crash? The crash of the stealth Black Hawk added another layer of mystery to the operation. Was it a mechanical failure, pilot error, or something else entirely? The wreckage, left behind in Pakistan, became a symbol of the operation's complexity and the risks involved. And what, if anything, did Pakistan know about bin Laden's presence on their soil? The compound in Abbottabad was located near a Pakistani military academy, raising suspicions about possible complicity or negligence. Did elements within the Pakistani government or military provide shelter to bin Laden, or were they genuinely unaware of his presence? These are just some of the questions that continue to haunt us a decade later. The raid on Abbottabad was a significant victory in the war on terror, but it also left behind a legacy of uncertainty. As new information slowly comes to light, we may get closer to understanding the full story. Until then, the unanswered questions serve as a reminder of the complexities and challenges in the fight against global terrorism. Section 9. Join the conversation. The hunt for Osama bin Laden was a defining chapter in modern history. It was a story of espionage, daring raids, and ultimately justice served. But it also raised profound questions about national security, covert operations, and the delicate balance of power in a dangerous world. What are your thoughts on the raid on Abbottabad? Do you believe Pakistan knew about bin Laden's whereabouts? Share your opinions and join the conversation on social media using #BinLadenRaid. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Sidishri for more in-depth stories and discussions. Your support helps us bring you more content like this.